Alright, so I'm opening physical camera intro, and as you can see here, the camera already been set up and we're having nice depth of field. So I'm gonna zoom out and see my entire scene here. In order to create physical camera, we need to click on that icon and drag and drop that camera in the screen. So you can see this camera looks a little bit different from the physical camera in that example, but both of them pretty much the same, and they have same parameters. Only Virii physical camera have a little bit more adjustments. And in the next tutorials, I'm going to do Virii physical camera in more depth. However, for this example, I'm just gonna go with the provided file and show you all those parameters with the regular physical camera of 3ds Max. Okay, so here I'm going to go back to my view and let's launch render and click the interactive. You can see that it's getting exposed a little bit too much. So what we can do, we can go a little bit higher with the aperture f number in order to get the right exposure. So for interiors, I do like to use f number 4. Now let's go back to the settings here. We can see that we have target. If I go out, and we can see that target is something that is showing in the camera here. So I can turn it on and off, and I can change the distance. And we can see, just because we have our focal length and depth of field set up, the minute we move our target, our objects can get away and out of focus, because we do use change the focus distance. All right, so let's put it back on the cups so that our 2 coffee cups will be in focus. Now here we have the camera lenses. 50 is kind of standard that I like to use, but something between 35 and 50 is always advisable. It's kind of mimicking the eye angle. Below that we have the focal length in millimeters. So you can see the narrowing the frame, the more zoom in we kind of get, but it's not really zooming in, it's just narrowing the space and getting less objects in our frame. 40 is a default. Zoom in option allows us to zoom in or zoom out without changing the perspective or exaggerating. Aperture you already saw, it goes with the numeric f-stops, so 5.6 will give a little bit darker result, 8 and 13 and compared to 1.8, which is a very overexposed. If we have very little light, we're going to use 1.8, so I'm going to put it back to 4. Now here we have shutter speed below that, so we can choose degrees, frames. I'm gonna use it as a default, seconds, and we can increase that so it will be fast but less light coming in. And if it will be slower, 1/100 of a second, then it will get more exposed. Now here we're getting to the exposure control, and in order this thing to work properly, let's just double check in our environment that the exposure control has been set up to physical camera right here. And also here on the side we have the control for the ISO. So let's set the ISO to 400. It's too much, 200, and and leave it like that. Switch to target EV. Let us change the exposure values, and with this we can also change the illumination of the scene. And we can see when we're changing that, on top we can see the ISO is also changing. So it's going up 200, or it's going down to 100, and it's been compensated through that physical camera exposure control. We have more values here, the global exposure, which we're going to discover later. This is just the introduction physical camera. And let's check our other values here. White balance. We have a drop down menu here to get different values for our image. Those are different presets. We can also use temperature. That allows us to control, to get the color of the sun or the sky and balance it out like that. Or we can use a custom here and manually select the color. If we do render sunset, we can take a probe and then remove that color. So you can see our white balance color is set to kind of bluish purplish, so make everything according to that bluish color white. And then with that method we really balancing the white balance of our scene by taking that color out. Alright, so that's about it for the demonstration of V-Ray camera introduction. Go check out the next video.